Hello everyone and welcome to IR Photo Tours, where today we're going to be talking about the Milky Way. Yeah baby, yeah!
Ten facts about our galaxy. Number one, it's warped. You may think it was round and flat, but no, it's warped. The Milky Way is a disk that measures about 120,000 light years across, with a central bulge that has a diameter of about 12,000 light years. The disk is not perfectly flat. It is warped due to our neighbouring galaxies, large and small. These two galaxies have been pulling on the matter in our galaxy like a game of tug-of-war. Number two, it has an invisible halo. Our galaxy is made up of about 90% dark matter. Ooh, sounds very ominous. Matter that cannot be seen, and about 10% luminous matter. Does it matter? Or matter that we can see with our eyes? This large quantity of dark matter causes an invisible halo that has been demonstrated by simulations of how the Milky Way spins. If the dark matter did not exist, then the stars within the Milky Way would orbit much slower than has been observed. Number three, it has over 200 billion stars. The Milky Way is only a medium-sized galaxy with an estimated 200 billion stars. The largest galaxy we know of is called IC 1101 and has over 100 trillion stars. It's really dusty and gassy. Pardon me. On a clear night, the dusty ring of the Milky Way can be seen in the night sky. Number five, it was made from our other galaxies. In order for the Milky Way to achieve its current size and shape, it has consumed other galaxies throughout its history. Our galaxy is currently consuming the Canis Major dwarf galaxy by adding the smaller galaxy's stars to its own spiral. Greedy bugger. Number six, we can't take pictures of it. Eh? Well, what am I doing here? Since we are located about 26,000 light years from the Milky Way center, we cannot take pictures of the disk. Okay, that makes sense. Any representation that you have ever seen of our galaxy is either a different spiral galaxy or what an artist thinks it might look like. Number seven, there is a black hole at the center. Like most large galaxies, the Milky Way has a supermassive black hole at its center called Sagittarius A. This black hole has an estimated diameter of 14 million miles, which does not include the disk of mass being drawn into it. This outer disk has about 14.6 million times the mass of our Sun in what would be similar to the orbit of the Earth. Number eight, it's almost as old as the universe itself. Scientists estimate that the universe is about 13.7 billion years old and that the Milky Way is about 13.6 billion years old. Although the main parts of the galaxy were formed in the early days of the universe, the disk and the bulge did not fully form until about 10 to 12 billion years ago. Number nine, it's part of the Virgo supercluster, a group of galaxies within 150 million light years. Number 10, it's on the move. Everything in space, including the Milky Way, is moving. The Earth moves around the Sun moves in the Milky Way, and the Milky Way cruises through space.
Hi guys and welcome back after a very long rest bite, if you like. My last video was 3 weeks ago. Today we're going to be talking about the Milky Way. Stick with me for a moment. I just want to say thank you very much to all those subscribers, the new subscribers as well as the old. You are all helping to make this channel the best it can possibly be. Thank you very, very much for tuning in to my channel, and here we talk about all kinds of photography, how to do certain things, how to edit, how to take the photos. And like I say, this week is all about the Milky Way. Now let me talk to you a little bit about the Milky Way and how I got this shot here. Now the reason I got that shot there was because I was shooting it at a particular time of the year. That particular time of the year is between mid-May and mid-June. So that is where you see a panorama with your own eyes in, as long as it's dark and there's no moon. You see the whole arch on the horizon of the Milky Way. The reason I say it's between mid-May and mid-June is because it gets darker and darker and darker later and later and later. Eventually, in the end, you only really get about an hour's worth of what they class as pitch black in summer. And also the Milky Way is beginning to rise as well. So what you're getting the times where it's very light in the evening sky. And of course the Milky Way's there. But as it gets darker and darker, the Milky Way is rising and rising and rising in the night sky. So by the time it gets to end of June, that kind of area, you are having a Milky Way that's right up there in the sky. And that arch will basically disappear. So the best opportunity of getting the panoramic of the Milky Way is between mid-May and mid-June. Now this shot was mid-May, so this was the 22nd of May, and it was when there was no moon, so the moon phase is gone, so you pitch as dark as you can get it. So yeah, we're very pleased with it. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I got this photograph behind me. Now I'm going to tell you a bit about it, and I'm going to tell you what I used. First thing that I used was the Canon M6 Mark II, which I'm actually filming on right now. It is a phenomenal camera. It's superb in many, many ways. I've been using it a lot lately. Now the M6 Mark II, as you probably know, is a crop sensor. So it's a 1/6 cropped sensor. And the lens that I'm using is the M mount Sigma f1.4. And that combination on, say, on a tracker, for example, a sky tracker that I use. If I'm using the sky tracker with this combination, then that's perfect, because the camera is really light, the lens is reasonably light, the Sigma lens, and the combination is quite light. So I can put that on a tracker and that will track seamlessly, really nicely, all the way around the night sky. So I can use quite a relatively cheap tracker with this setup. That's what I'm trying to get at. With the M6 Mark II, you do have 32 megapixels of sensor, and that is phenomenal. So that in itself, on a lightweight camera such as the M6 Mark II and the Sigma f1.4, you are getting a lovely combination for astrophotography. That is the result of that combination. How about that? I didn't use the tracker, however, on this particular shoot because I wanted a panoramic. I took 10 images to produce this big wide panoramic that we got behind us. 10 images stitched together in Lightroom. We're going to go through that process in a little while. So the composition was with the lighthouse directly in front of us. I wanted the tractor line in the view, so that was the idea, was to get something that pulled you into it all. So I know that we would be facing east, so we would get this lovely arch right in front of us. We could physically see it with our own eyes, it was that dark. Of course there was no moon, and we basically shot, so if that was a lighthouse in front of me there, we would shoot directly to the side of us at 90 degrees to 90 degrees. That was the panoramic. That was what you had to get in. That was a massive, so it's from literally from south all the way to north. Because I'm shooting in RAW and not a JPEG, I want to retain and get as much information in that night sky and in the detail in the ground, and I want as much information as possible. So I always shoot in mind of getting that scenario. These were the settings for each shot taken. I managed to get some really nice, well exposed images of the foreground and the night sky, and by doing that with the f1.4 we got some really sharp, really detailed stars up there. There are a lot of stars that I managed to capture with that lens. That's why it's really important, in my opinion, to have a very fast lens for this particular genre of photography, being astrophotography. So where did I focus? I'll tell you where I focused. I had a big strong light on my head and I turned it on, and that illuminated the lighthouse really well, and so therefore I could focus on the lighthouse. I went to autofocus, and autofocus really locked on well to the lighthouse. It was illuminated enough for it to lock onto it, and that for me was infinity really. Then I locked it off, locked the autofocus off and put it onto manual focus, and then I carried on. Now the important thing here to say is I also, instead of landscape mode for the camera, I didn't have it in landscape mode like that. I had it in portrait mode like that. The way to do panoramics, just in case you don't know, is if you shoot your first shot. So for me, example, that was dead south, 90 degrees to where I'm facing right now. I would then take that one shot. I would then pick a point in the image which would be half the image, and then I'd go halfway in to that frame and take the next shot, and then I'll go halfway into the frame again and take that shot. So you're overlapping each and every shot half a frame. That, by doing that, you are giving the best chance possible that you're going to get a good stitch in Lightroom. If you don't do that and you try to take one image and then go a full frame, take another image, it won't stitch properly, and you'll lose all that time and effort that you put into it will be lost. Okay, obviously I was on a tripod. Makes sense. 30 seconds, it's got to be on a tripod. So we've got our 10 images, we've framed them up, we've got the composition, and we've got the setup, and the images are looking great. Let's get on with how I process these images from start to finish, okay? So now I've got them in camera, I've gone there, I've done the shoot, and now we're going to process them. See you in a minute. Love YouTube. We're going to start right at the start. I think you'll be pleased to know. We click on the first image, and then we press Shift on our keyboard and go to our last image. Now, as you can see, it's 10 frames, so there's your 10 frames. Bang. Okay, so that's what we got, okay? So you'll see in the 5th frame, as I said before, we've centered the lighthouse in the 5th frame. And what we've got to do now is all of those 10 frames, we will go up to here, and we will go to Photo, and we will go to Edit In. No, we won't go to Edit In. We will go to Photomerge and Panorama. We will click on Panorama, and it will automatically start creating the panorama preview of what it will look like. So it gives you a preview of what it's going to look like straight away. This way you can decide on the best method of your pano. I am in spherical mode at the moment, and as you can see here, that is not good, is it? Because somebody put their light on in one of the frames. That there is the issue that you're going to have. So we don't want that one. So there you go, there's your 10 frames gone, just because somebody in the village put their backlight on that was probably a 500 watt light, and it killed my images. So let's try this one. 14 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Well, I'm going to go 14. 14 images, wow. So we're going to do 14 images here. So we're going to click on 14 and hold shift down and go all the way through to 27. Click that. Now we have 14 frames selected. Let's see what we get with this one. And then we edit, Photomerge. We go to, basically we're going to go to Photo, Photomerge, and Photomerge into a panoramic. So here we are. Now that's looking good. That's looking very good. So we have the image up and there's 14 frames there. So I know I caught that really well. So I'm going to merge all those 14 frames and that's going to take a little bit of time. So we'll just move it on a little bit quicker. Okay, so there's your 14 frames put together. Now as you can see down here, it's cropped it already. Okay. Oh, there you go. It has cropped it. It automatically crops it. But as you can see, we've got a post here. We've got the Milky Way and the heart of the Milky Way here, the core of it. The core of it is right here and it all fades around and goes into a lovely arch. Now I just want to say, you can clearly, even in this raw file, which is amazing, that I've got all this detail into the raw file. Very, very bright around here, very colourful, very, very detailed in the greenery as well. Actually, it's not bad, and being at ISO 800, it weren't too bad. You can see the elongated stars there, but you know, and this is Orion, and this faint area here is the Orion Nebula. M31 is what it is. There you go. We want to darken this down here. This is all, this is the problem with night photography, isn't it? And in certain locations is that you're going to get a certain amount of light pollution. You know, you're getting some amazing stars and what have you there, but this all here is really quite nasty. So it's very warm as well. So what we want to do first off, ideally, is bring the blue into the image. Okay, so we can bring the blue. Now you have got to be a little bit careful with this because you don't want to be bringing in too much blue. Now the blacks you want to be bringing in as well. So what we're going to do is just try our best to pull out the details basically of the Milky Way. Bring up the whites, maybe not, just hang around there. Shadows, bring the shadows up a little bit to bring back the greenery a little bit. And we really want to give that a little bit of vibrance. Bring the blacks down more. And as you can see, it's coming in nicely at the moment, but we know we can get more out of that. So what we've got to do is try and, I'll probably put the exposure up just a little bit, just about 55, just where it is there, look at 55. 0.55 I should say, and then by bringing up the lights it's going to really go for it, isn't it? So now I think bring up the light a little bit, lights are there, and you can see how many stars are in that picture. It's amazing, and that's what the that fast lens gives you. Right, we're going to try a bit of texture, so bringing in a little bit of texture. I don't want a huge amount of texture, probably about 20. Clarity definitely, because that's going to bring it all out. Look, and you do use an awful lot of clarity actually, probably around about 75%. Dehaze, not really. Leave dehaze alone. I've put up to plus 25% on the vibrance, and that alone, just that on its own, if we just press Y, you can see the difference, look. So there's your difference. So we've got rid of the post, and by doing that we've got rid of some of the light but not all of it. Get the blue involved. Now bringing the blue in kills off some of the red. So what we can do is go to the colour, and you've got to think about this logically, I suppose. So we go to, let's just go to all. If we go to saturation and bring the blue down, and what that's doing is giving us a more of a, you know, sensible looking sky. And we've got the orange. So if we bring the orange saturation down, hopefully, and the red, because there's a bit of red in there as well, and a bit of magenta as well. So we don't want the magenta, do we? Magenta's awful looking. But we don't want to go too mad, because now it's green. So we could have an aurora in our image. So we're getting there, so now that's looking a bit better, in my opinion. There's a little bit bright over here, so we need to calm that down a little bit. The way to do that would be now to go to the graduated filter, I think. So I'm quite happy with that. I might even just pump up the reds a little bit, actually, just for the lighthouse, just a touch. Well, just a tad, like that. So we don't want to take the red out of the lighthouse because that's quite nice, and that's really white on the lighthouse as well. The greens, probably pop the greens up a little bit, not too much. In fact, they don't really need to go up at all, actually. They can stay as they are. There's some nice shadow in the grass here, in the grasses, in the field. So you've got daylight here. That is literally daylight there. This was taken at 1:30 in the morning. So we're going to bring that down a touch more. Okay, let's have a look. And because it's such a big file, this is about 130 megabytes, this file now. And yeah, quite mad. So I think about that. This is the way I edit my Milky Way. There is no set rule. If you've taken the image at a certain aperture and a certain shutter speed and ISO, you're going to get the same as I'm getting here. Now I feel that shadow needs to come up a little bit more just to so we can get the grass in. And I think we are pretty close to being there. What we're going to do now is go over to Photoshop and edit in Photoshop. Edit in Adobe Photoshop 2020. So what I'm going to try and achieve with this now is to accentuate the Milky Way. And the way to do that would be to do something very simple, and that is to go to the burn tool, and put it on around about 15% only, and have a soft brush, which it is, soft brush, and basically where the core is, and this is all the core here, we want to give it a little bit of a darker core, okay? And by doing that, what you're going to do is accentuate that core a little bit more. But you don't want to go too mad, because if you go too mad, it will show, and it will make it look a bit awful, actually, in my opinion. Yeah, I think we are there. We are there. So that's looking good, right? So what we want to do now is go to dodge and start dodging in the brighter areas of it. Now bear in mind you're on 8% on this, no more, okay? Because if you do any more, it's going to look false. It will definitely look false. So there you go, guys. So pretty much there, if I'm honest. So there you go. I think, to be fair, I don't think we want to do any more on that. How's that, guys? You enjoy that? So now what we do, we flatten the image. We go up to image, we go up to layer, should I say, layer, and we go to flatten image. So now any processing that we've done to it is all nice and flattened now, and that is looking rather nice, in my opinion. And go back, save, and that will now go and save back into Lightroom. So we double click, well I hope it does. Otherwise it's everything undone. No, it's there, look. So now we have the image, we've taken out the electrical line. It's looking fantastic. We've got a nice arch to the Milky Way. We've got the Aurora, we've got Orion's belt here, and also just down here, right there, you will have the M31 Milky Way. If you're going to get this Milky Way shoot, do it before the 22nd, or do it around about the 22nd of June. That is your last opportunity of this year to be able to get the Milky Way like that, because that, what you see there, is precisely what you will see in the night sky. You know, and all I've done is had to, you have to make a panorama of it. You'll never get that all in one shot. That was 14 images all stitched together. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed doing this. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. Please subscribe if you like my channel, and hit that notification bell, because the next video that comes up will be pretty awesome, I am sure. So it's been a lovely old job from me, and thank you very much for watching. Good night all.